Okay, a reminder that the chat is open, and if I forget about the chat, somebody remind me. I'll be looking at it. I was saying I am happy that we're doing this session right before we start Aquarius season, because a lot of what we're going to talk about in this class is going to start and activate as soon as the sun goes into Aquarius, which is going to be on the 19th or 20th. On the 20th, sun enters Aquarius on the 19th. So this energy is going to start off with a bang, and we're going to feel it. I think honestly we're already feeling it, but we have to work through the planets that are uncomfortable right now, because they're kind of throwing in a few wrenches. If we could get through this period, it's a big fresh start. And of course we're going to do horoscopes at the end, where we can talk about what this looks like for the rising signs, and then you can ask questions here and in the circle community. Okay, so let me see here. I'm going to turn this around. We're going to look at the PowerPoint. So awaken your vision and embrace the Aquarius new moon, which is all about innovate, liberate, and elevate. I've been praying a lot on the definition of authenticity, because it's a big word for Aquarius. It's a hot word for Aquarius. But I observed that the average person, including myself, doesn't resonate with the word and doesn't really know what it means. And like I can see it in my mind's eye, but I can't always really describe it. And we just know that we have to be authentic, authentic. And people ask, like, what is that? What is that? And I think I've been able to come into strong downloads and strong ideals that have changed the game for me when it comes to the Aquarian energy, the visionary, and what authenticity looks like. So I'm going to be sharing that perspective today, to offer that to you and see where that fits in your world, in your life. And I think I'm going to also show or talk about examples and examples that are on the world stage. Okay, so some highlights of this new moon is that it's the first new moon of the year. It's going to set the tone for the rest of the year. And it will also, in my opinion, it's the strongest new moon that we will have. There's going to be others that are significant, but this one, this is it. This is it. So this is not a new moon that you want to sleep on. Remember that the training we do here at transits are trainings. We evaluate what the universe is offering to us, and it's saying this is your piece of the collective growth. As these transits happen, they're happening because everybody is, in theory, meant to come in to work as a concert. So when transits come in, it says this is your piece of the music, your piece of the concert. Would you like to participate? You could say yes, or you could say no. Nothing, I wouldn't say nothing is, it's not a one-time thing. These transits come back around, but not necessarily in the same shape and form. So sometimes you can participate, and other times it takes you bringing awareness to your multidimensional self, which is, I'm tired, I don't feel good, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that, but this is new energy coming to my doorstep. Let me focus on this and begin to build a world around this and make that my central reality. And you could do that as a human, as a person. You have those gifts to be able to manage time instead of being split in time. That's where pain comes from, where it says, I can't do this because I'm sad here, and I can't do this because I'm here, that I'm doing this and that. I'm not saying to ignore it. I'm saying to manage them. As if you're a server with a bunch of plates on you, you can control your own concert to then give a good note to the universe and to the collective. Like, this is your beautiful strand of music, and you're doing a hell of a job trying to manage all these things. But the thing is, it doesn't always stay like this. Remember, if you guys are year one of the mentorship, the more you continue doing these exercises and clearing out your karma, the more that you can integrate and bring all of your dishes together into one plate. So you're only carrying one plate. But you have to work through the karma. You have to work through all the stickiness that is on your plate. On average, I've seen people be able to merge one plate from 3 years. On the second years, it gets so much easier, but 3 years, they're really walking with that one plate. If you really put your head down and do a lot of work, you can get there in a year, but it takes at least 1 year. And by the 5th year mark, you're symphony, baby. If you've done the work by year 5, you're now creating your 4D reality. The access points that you have, okay? So, all right, so this is the first new moon of the year, and it's gonna feel like the year's gonna start. It's gonna feel like, okay, this is a fresh start. Not just because literally we're gonna have a new president, but because the energy will switch. And however you feel about the presidency, I want you to see it as the Aquarius energy has kicked in. The Aquarian future is here. And the truth is, the old admin is in the Capricorn old world era. And that's why a lot of people they're trying to stretch so bad, like we're done, we're done, we're done, we're done. And we're just like waiting for those days to come in. And then there's major energy harvesting with the TikTok thing, the fires. All of this is orchestrated, you can say. And so it really displaces people. And it displaced me for a second because as I think as a psychic though, you pick up on people's concerns and fears. Like, what's really interesting, when COVID started, you guys know I went to school for astrology. My passion, my love is in the heavens and in the stars. And I spend years studying every single one of them. When COVID hit for 2 years straight, I didn't do a dang astrology reading. It was all tarot. That's because people were scared out of their mind, terrified, right? And I was kind of like, ugh, am I just gonna be a tarot reader for the rest of my life? But it was good. It was good because for me, it forced me to see astrology through the tarot. Because yeah, the tarot is really beautiful and nice, and it shows us so much, but let's talk about some real information. And so I began to code um the tarot with an astrological card, and I would ask my guides to help me relate each card to this before ChatGPT. Help me relate each card to an astrology symbology, so I could do the timing of astrology, so I could do my practice, so I could do what I knew. And it really took my tarot game to another level, okay? And I discovered my karmic astrology tarot method, which is what I do on the live streams and all the time now. But that was hard. And if I would have been attached to, I'm supposed to be an astrologer, I would have not defined this tarot system that I'm now going to start publicly teaching this year, because I've been doing it behind the scenes, but I'm going to start publicly teaching that. And if you want to learn your psychic skills, become certified and do it as a career, you should join, because those classes, they're kind of stretched out, but they're stretched out because you need to build your third eye. You need to have your psychic skills. It's nothing if you don't have that. The tarot will just be cards, physical cards. You need your third eye. That's what's going to make you stand out. And I have that technique for you guys to learn. Anyway, that's coming from a very uncomfortable period, which was 2020. And I didn't question. I was just like, this is weird. Like, I have so much astrology knowledge, and I was like 2 years of nonstop tarot, and it got people through the time. And it was also really hard to read. I don't know if you guys remember 2020, but the veils of time were down, and psychically you couldn't really tap into the future. There was like a literal black curtain over divination. It was the craziest thing. All the psychics were talking about it, including myself. You just couldn't, you could only see like a week ahead, a month ahead. It wasn't like being able to see whatever is in your path. It was very strange, right? But it was a weird time. All right. So when changes like this happen, where maybe TikTok goes away, or maybe this goes away, or whatever happens, you are going through your next curriculum. You're going through the next thing that's going to bring you mastered skills. And so there's a confidence in, what am I going to learn this time? Because your hardships are your next paychecks. If you don't go through the difficult lessons, you have nothing to sell. You have no experience, which is why nobody should worry about charlatans or when people copy them, because they don't have the substance behind you. They will fall. They will fall. And so people can copy. You have a ton of people copying the work that I do. And you can continue. You're not going to be able to keep that up. You don't have nearly an inch of the background that I do. And so you will have to keep pedaling. And that's really sad. That's actually one of the saddest things that a person could do, is try to be somebody else. Right? When you have this beautiful cosmic map that says this is who you are, right? And this is your musical note. We need it. And you're literally, you nullify your purpose. When you look at someone, you try to copy them or something like this, you nullify your purpose. You give a void to yourself and you say, let me close my whole purpose of being here out to try to be somebody else because they figured it out for whatever reason, or that's what it looks like to you. Okay. So your strength and power comes in knowing who you are and taking responsibility for yourself. It's the only thing you could do. And then you could help other people. So we can go into, what is Aquarius? The frequency of truth is set in stone. So authenticity is the buzzword that I've been trying to work through, because I'm like, what is it? In a way that we can simplify and understand. And I really came to the understanding through observation, because there's a lot of, I'll say it, there's a lot of spiritual businesses being trashed right now. And it's very shocking, right? These $1 million spiritual businesses are falling. And it's significant because these businesses came to prominence maybe like 5, 8 years ago, over the last 10 years. And they have made like a ton of money in the business world, selling crystals and candles and magic and things like this. And they were seen as the pioneers in this whole industry. And so a lot of them are, one is having a liquidation sale, another one was taken over for fraud and basically practicing black magic, and that was exposed. And I'm looking at all of them like, damn, like what is behind this? Because that wasn't authentic, right? And I go into the idea that Aquarius energy is so removed from any illusion that it's only the energy. It's only the truth. Okay. Essentially, you can't lie in the frequency of Aquarius. There's no space for lies or for dishonesty or performances. You are just your energy. You could try to lie, but you pick that up on energy. And so what authenticity really is, to me, is the truth of who you are. And sometimes you suck. And you know what? This is my cue. Whenever you come into a new spiritual teacher, like, are they real? Are they not? Are they a charlatan? Are they not? You want to know that your teachers are humble and able enough to say, I don't know. If you find a teacher that has an answer for everything, you better start questioning them. Because a teacher will tell you passionately what they know. And when it comes to something that they don't know, they'll tell you, oh, I don't know. I don't know that. Next question. Or I don't want to talk about that. Next question. There's boundaries towards what they say. And even again, if they know or don't know, they're going to say that because they're not wanting to mislead. They'll say it. The charlatans or the crazy people out there, they're gonna diarrhea over everything, and then you're gonna try to make sense of it, and then you're gonna try to put some of the pieces together. That frequency, that energy is falling off in all areas of the world, politically, spiritually, anything. If you have built your empire under illusions and under falsehood, that the frequency of Aquarius, because the age of Aquarius, this is like when the sun goes next to Pluto, that's marking a new timeline for humanity. It's a big deal because Pluto is now for sure, for certain, in Aquarius for the next 20 years, which is working in tandem with us coming into the age of Aquarius. So in my world, in my opinion, as soon as that sun activation comes into Pluto's energy, it's a new world, because Pluto will make sure that everybody is obsessed with their truth, obsessed with their part in the world, that they won't forget and they won't stop doing it. It's a very powerful transit. And so this is why, of course, you want to pay attention to it, but you want to really anchor yourself in your truth and being open to show all sides of yourself. So if you're performing, you gotta knock it off. That's when you know, yeah, I'm being crazy. If you have to put on some kind of bedazzle or whatever, you know what that is. It's different for everybody, right? For me, when I was in my teenage years, it was the boots, it was the gothy look. You couldn't pull that black clothes out of me. But I've since matured. Okay. But that was my thing. Okay. And if I didn't have that on, I couldn't perform. I wouldn't go out. Okay. Now, my frontal lobe also wasn't developed. But anyway, you guys get it. So Aquarius is the frequency of truth in my world, the frequency of no lies, just energy. So the human abilities and the human capabilities are all of your spiritual and psychic abilities. So when you look at advanced civilizations, if you're lucky enough to do that research and come into the information of what advanced civilizations that are already living in 4 5D are doing and look like, they've transcended a lot of belief systems. They've transcended time. They've transcended money. They don't operate. It's a society without money and without time. And because of this and all the other things, they've become healers because of knowing the sciences. So education is the strongest and most beneficial thing that you could do for yourself to back up your truth and be in harmony with the science of the world and the solar system. So the age of Aquarius promotes coming into the 4D, essentially 4D. And I want to say this. It's a triggering thing to say publicly, but sometimes you just have to, right? There's two worlds right now, and we need to just become aware of that. The two worlds is the 3D is falling, and the 3D has been creating illusions for thousands of years. And those that looks like religion as well. It looks like anything really that you've been taught in any institution. If you have been trained by any authority figure, school, medical, career, these are all doctrines. And what I think is wonderful is that when people of the world come together, you observe the doctrines because they're so wildly different. And that is the historic merge of Americans going over to China that I talk about. That's going to be historic. I don't know if it's going to be recorded in history books because I don't know who's going to write it. But if I was doing it, I would record that moment in history, because Now the Chinese and the American people can see the doctrines. They could see like what the that is so obvious now because we don't do things like that. And they're gonna have some stuff. Right now they're discovering us because we went to their space, right? So right now we are the test subject. But in due time, if we're allowed to stay there, and I think it will, we're gonna start to look at them, or maybe they come over to our TikTok. We're going to start to inspect them and we're going to learn things about them as well because it's not rainbows and sunshines over there either. But this ability to be able to compare notes without the overlords over us is huge because for the most part the GOV I'm not on live stream, for the most part the government is involved in this because as of history and time it's always been the governments talking to each other and we're just trusting them. And now it's like we can compare notes and it's touching our faces. You're like, you're human, you're this. It's fascinating. And we should continue. I do think that we're going to start to normalize the conversation about other beings in the universe. We're going to start to have more literacy around who we share the solar system with. And we're going to come into knowledge of alien life. And I want you guys to normalize it in a way that is not scary. So this looks like when you come face to face to this information, one, you need to check into your heart because you're programmed to be scared of it. Everybody's programmed to be terrified of any life outside of the human form and animals and like what you know, okay? So like everything has a polarity, there's good and there's bad, right? However, this is why I'm teaching you the universal laws because it doesn't matter who's alive and who's pumping. That energy has to abide by those universal laws. So that's how you can create unification and not worship anyone because if these energies come to the surface, it's easy for the human in its very vulnerable oh no, where? Hold on just a second. I don't see her. It usually tells me if somebody is waiting. I don't see her. Oops. Okay, Fredo, you'll catch the recording. um, I just send it to her. Hopefully she can come back in. I send her the link. All right. Let's go on here. Sarah, could you let me know if she comes back in? Oh, okay, thank you. Let me know if she comes back in. I kind of forgot what I was talking about. Does anybody remember? She's in, and some people we did a
You are
swap. Some
speaking
people.
about the government and the fact we need maybe to the government are linked
Oh,
to the US to speak with the other government, but not people to people, you know.
yes, discernment. I was speaking about discernment. We had to adjust. Some people left, some people came in. So to catch you up, Jeanette, we're just barely starting to talk about the new moon in Aquarius, and we're talking about um the frequency of truth taking over, taking center stage, and how anything that is not the truth and is not the frequency of ascension and 4D will begin to show itself. It will begin to make itself very present and clear. And I'm also talking about alien disclosure and how to build discernment in your heart about beings that are amongst us, that have always been amongst us, and have a lot to teach us. But there's a lot of programs that are in place, not just through you and your parents, but through hundreds of years. And religion is a big doctrine of this as well. And so I was speaking about alien energy, which I want to find a new word for. But there's good and there's good, and there's bad also. And as you come into disclosure, your strength and your backbone is going to come in being able to align to the universal laws that every being has to honor. So going into your heart for discernment is important, as these new topics will begin to um, be discussed.
Thank you so much. I am so sorry. I think I must have had the wrong link. So thank you for letting me in. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. The link that's on, the reason I haven't put this link onto Circle is because some people don't have an active membership, and I just want to keep it fair for everybody. So the Zoom link is only on Thrivecart for this year, which is why I haven't made it like a super easy thing for people, but we're getting the hang of it. The more we do this, you do have to go into your Thrivecart, or just save this link now that you have it so you can come back to it.
I
Um,
appreciate it. Thank you.
when it comes to alien disclosure, because I do think it's going to start to happen, there's beautiful energies out there. There's people in advanced, or there's beings in advanced states in 4D, 5D that have a civilization that is beautiful, advanced, like utopian, right? And then there's entities and lower dimensional aliens too that are grounded here on Earth and have done treaties with the American government. And this is the fall that we're seeing, because these treaties are like 60 years old at the most. And so it's the shift from this normal American life that we had into this shit show. Okay. And I do think that there is a huge battle in getting these energies out and canceling those very real and true contracts that were done um, for the American people. So it's a historic time that we're going to go into, and there's a battle that's going to happen that needs to take place. But what you need to know is that the 3D world realm is going to make and do performances. And if there's one thing that I could say, wish that TikTok was able to do, was show you how the media will act. They're all performers. And I really saw it with the fires. We had first access to footage of the fires, and it was normal. It was people scared, grieving, etc.